Hi guys! So for today's video, I wanted to discuss a really interesting topic. I'm kind of gonna wing it on this one, and I feel like sometimes it's better when you just wing it and you just go with the flow, just because I feel like a lot of times it comes from the heart and it's more, meaningful when you kind of wing it. So for today's Soulful Sunday video, the topic I want to kind of discuss with you guys is kind of finding your way in your career, finding what you're passionate about. Just because I know, people who are in their 20s, even any stage in your life, you're kind of figuring it out where you're meant to be, what you want to do. And for me personally, I've had a very rocky road to figure out what I want to do. It hasn't been the easiest. And I think in that regard, I'm slowly figuring out where I now want to be and taking those steps to get to that point. But at the same time, I'm not, fully where I want to be. So what I want to start off by saying is when it comes to, whether you're going to college or you've graduated, you're in your career field and you feel like you're not really where you're meant to be, I think at the end of the day, what you need to sit down and focus on is maybe getting a pen and paper, writing out, what can I see myself doing? Is it realistic? Do I have the capabilities to make this change? And I know that's kind of the overall sense of it. And now you kind of want to sit there and say, well, what am I even passionate about? So for example, for me, I'm always going to be passionate about fashion, beauty, holistic healing, that kind of lifestyle. Those are the things I'm passionate about. And for me, the reason why it was so tough is because I have all these different things I'm passionate about. How do I take this and turn it into something, that's going to be my career? So that was, one thing I'm still figuring out is, okay, I have an understanding of what I want to do, what I'm passionate about, and now it's just kind of putting together my own career in a way. I think what I'm striving for doesn't quite exist, or maybe it's not as mainstream as most careers are. Traditional in a way. I guess I'm super non-traditional. And I know a lot of the things that I've now been focusing on and really opening myself up to, it's now bringing more opportunity into my life. And it's now allowing me to kind of say, okay, I can be picky and choosy. I can sit there and really decide what I want to do and what I don't want to do. And that was one thing where I know I kind of, discussed with you guys my difficult time so far of what I've been dealing with my anxiety and depression. And, a lot of the stuff of what I'm realizing is it's stemming from decisions that I've made in my life and kind of circumstances that I've brought into my life. So that would I'd say a lot of that have to do with my career, where I have this career, that basically looks good on paper, right? I went to college and I pursued HR at Rutgers and I graduated. I did really well. And then I went on to, work in the real world, corporate jobs, all of that. And I was always really unhappy. And then I began pursuing my hobby of YouTube, of doing makeup artistry, of styling. And, I started to feel a little bit more passionate about my life again. But at the same time, I couldn't really make that transition to do these things full time because, again, you got to pay the bills. And, with that, I always felt maybe, I needed to fit in. I needed to do things where other people approved of what I was doing. And I now, at my point in my life, realize I don't want a corporate role. I don't want a traditional 9-to-5 job. That's never going to be me. I gave it a shot. But, I need to pursue the things that I love now. And I'm hoping that where I'm at, as I'm taking those steps, it's going to help me really pinpoint about, what I need to do. So I would say that's where I still need to work on things is I quit my job and I'm now going into an area that's more aligned with my creative side. And I'm, kind of starting from scratch. But I know that I'm going to be in an environment where I feel happy, where I feel creative, and I feel fulfilled. So I'm hoping that as that's my first step, everything will now follow and I'll be able to really get a better understanding of where I want to go with all of this, what I want to do. So again, it's never going to be, I think, a moment where you have an epiphany and every idea, everything that you're passionate about. I don't think you're going to sit there and say, oh, I got it, light bulb, I know exactly what I want to do, I know exactly how I'm going to get there. I think a lot of times when you have this small idea, you can grow from it. And I think a lot of it has to do with figuring out yourself and allowing yourself to grow and, kind of fall down a couple times. I definitely had to fall down and pick myself back up to figure out what I wanted to do. And when I say like I fell down, meaning I had to work really bad jobs. I had to work and try things and know, okay, this isn't for me. This is not what I want to do. This is not where I want to be. And then what I was able to do was pick myself up and say, okay, let's redirect. Where are we going to take this? So now I'm at the place where I redirected myself. I think a lot of times people find it really tough to kind of redirect their career because not only financial stresses, financial burdens, but also I think a lot of it is society's expectations, where you're expected to be in this role or be in this lifestyle. And it's really hard to, I think, pull away from that. And I think that was one of the biggest things that held me back for a really long time, was I was extremely scared of what people were going to think of me. And I was really afraid of how people would view me if I didn't pursue something that was traditional. And I mean, listen, I've had people say, are you crazy? What are you doing? Like, why wouldn't you, go into a corporate job? You've got a college degree. Believe me, I've experienced people telling me that I'm wrong for what I'm doing. And I think the old me would have taken offense to that, would have really broken down and lived how other people wanted me to live. Now I'm at the place where I just don't care. I really don't care, because at the end of the day, they're not the ones who have to put their head on the pillow at night or wake up in the morning and live with their decisions. And that's one thing I sat there, I was making decisions off of other people's expectations and opinions, and I wasn't living my life for me anymore, and I lost so much. I could just get emotional about this because I was so lost and I was so depressed. But I'm not anymore, because of the fact that I'm now living for me. I'm doing something that makes me happy. And if there's anything I can give out there to other people, is if you're so unhappy to the point where you don't want to socialize, like you don't want to go out, or you just you don't have the energy anymore to do things. Like I put myself out there to tell you guys, like, change your life, because it's not worth it. It's really true with that quote, you really only have one life, and this life is very short. And I'm very, very grateful that at 26 years old, I had that wake-up call to say, this is your life. Yes, you're young, but it's going to fly by. Fix it now, because I don't want to go through life feeling regret. And you know what? Maybe I'm making really tough decisions, really rash decisions, but at the end of the day, at least I can say I did it. At least I can say I tried. And a lot of times what I've noticed is the people who are going to sit there and question you, the people who are going to sit there and judge you for your decisions, they're the ones who are way too scared to ever make those decisions. So you have to sit there and say, at least I had the guts to do this. So when someone judges you, when they put their opinions on you, a lot of times it's coming from a place of insecurity, of judgment, and all of that's negative, and you don't want any of that in your life. So just get it out, rid yourself of it. So a lot of times I would say, when trying to figure out what you're passionate about or making that decision, really have the understanding, the acceptance that money isn't everything. And I had to sit there and say, obviously you have financial responsibilities and you have to take care of things. Figure it out. Put together an Excel spreadsheet of all of your, finances, what you need to pay off, the things that you're responsible for. Put that together. Put together a game plan where you're now saying, okay, this is what I need to basically make in order to, live. And once you're able to financially put together, what you are responsible for, what you need to take care of, then you can kind of sit there and say, well, okay, now I have, an amount of money that I would need to potentially make to make it month to month. Now what you're going to sit there and do is start brainstorming. Look at the things that you're passionate about, right? So start from a really general perspective to say, well, this is what I'm passionate about, okay? Now what you can start doing is start doing Google searches. Well, what jobs are related to these things? What industries are related to this? And then now you're going to start getting more detailed, or now you're going to see some positions that, that you're going to be able to look into. A lot of times I would say is obviously, I'm going off of a really general perspective. So I know a lot of times there are going to be positions where you need certifications or schooling. I would say if there's positions that you're looking into in a career field that need a degree, sometimes what you can do is, what I've experienced is, if there's something you're passionate about, let's say you're passionate about art, right? This is just going to be a general example. You're passionate about art, but a lot of times with art positions, whether it's teaching, whether it's working in an art gallery, you have to have that background, you have to have that degree. So let's say, you're trying to make that change, but you don't have the capabilities to go back to school right now. Well, being in that environment, that's going to be fulfilling for you, right? So let's say you apply to art schools and you're working in an administrative position. Maybe what you could do down the road then is get a tuition, reimbursement opportunity and go to school part-time. You know what I mean? So I think what it comes down to is if you're in that environment, it's going to fuel, how you feel, your passions, and it's going to get you closer to where you want to be. And that was one thing I had to accept, was it's going to be a process. It's going to be a journey. It's not going to happen overnight. But if you are taking the steps, if you're looking at the process that you have to, kind of fulfill throughout the way, it's going to get you closer to your end goal. So back to my example. So if you're in that art school, you're in that creative environment, you're going to feel passion about your work, even if it has nothing to do with what you want. If it's an administrative position, you're still in that environment. You're going to be closer to where you want to be. So I would say that's an example of maybe some steps to take. And then there's, for example, someone out there who's like me, where I have the things I'm passionate about, but there's not really a position out there that brings it all together. Well, I'm creating that right now. I'm going to create what I want. And that's something that I urge you guys to do. If there's something that you want and it doesn't exist yet, create it. You know what I mean? Like there shouldn't be a limit to what you want to do or how you're going to get there. Get rid of the limits, erase that from your mind. You are now limitless. And I think as you start to really understand that a lot of it is the mentality that you hold on to and the mentality that you incorporate into your daily life, that is also a huge part to getting where you want to be. So for me, I had to sit there and say, enough with this negative thinking, enough with saying I'm not good enough or I'm never going to be happy. I had to cut all that out and sit there and say, okay, I have this opportunity, so let me put together a plan. Let me see where I want to be. And again, like I said, I'm not exactly where I want to be yet, but I can understand that I'm beginning that process, and I'm now closer to where I can envision myself. So that's one thing I just really urge you guys, put together a plan and just be fully aware that this is something you want. Get there. You're going to get there. You're going to work for it. And anything else that isn't going to help you get to that point, cut it out. Get rid of it. It's not worth it, and it's not going to help you at all. So that is my little chit chat. Definitely I will be giving you guys updates. Again, I think with Soulful Sundays, this is definitely where we have discussions about things going on in my life. Doesn't mean I have everything figured out, because we're never all going to have it figured out. But it's an opportunity for us to kind of discuss and just figure out our journey together along the way. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I hope you got some maybe helpful tips and resources. Again, I'm with you guys on this journey where I'm still learning. I don't have all the answers yet, but that's okay. That's part of life. So please subscribe for some more beauty videos, Soulful Sunday videos. Give this video a thumbs up if you truly enjoyed it and felt that you connected with it. And I will see you all next time. Have a wonderful day.